Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Ramani Online Mathematics. Today we are going to do bearing and vectors. But you first look at what bearing is. Then you go through them. And after that, you go and tackle the vectors. So for now, for this minute, I'm going to start with the bearing. Now, let's look at the meaning of bearing. It is a measurement of direction using angles. Okay. It's a measurement of direction using angles. So we try to measure directions by the way of what using angles. Okay. Now this thing is helpful. This thing can happen with the help of the cardinal point. So looking at this is the cardinal point. So this is what is going to help us to get all the bearings that we are going to do. So you must study this cardinal point very well. If you don't know that the north is at the top, the east is at your right side, the south is the bottom or the down, and the west is at your left side. If you don't know that, study that because you're going to use it. Is that okay? Good. All right. There are two ways of measuring the bearing. You have two ways. First, you'll be looking at the using the North Pole. That's 3-digit bearing. You also be using the North or South Pole only. That is a compass bearing. When you say compass, it's an instrument that is used for directions. This compass. So that's what you're going to do for the next 1 hour ahead of us. Is that okay? So please sit and enjoy the lesson. Okay, now let's start with the first type. Using the North Pole, that's the 3-digit bearing, okay? So you're going to see how we use the 3-digit bearing. By this method, measurement is taken in the clockwise direction. In fact, when it comes to bearing, all of them is taken in a clockwise direction, okay? Like this. If you don't know that, let me show you this. This is our north, this is our east, this is our west, and this is our south. Now, when we are measuring angles, angles are measured in anti-clockwise direction, but bearings are measured in the clockwise direction. So in this case, for the north, for clockwise direction is you are moving to the right side of your hand. So you stand here and you move. Is that okay? So the bearings are taken in the clockwise direction. For that clockwise direction, and it's always taken from the north. So bearing normally start from where? The north. We measure from north back to the north. So we don't measure bearing from east. We don't measure bearing from west or south. We normally measure bearing from north. You should take note of that too. Okay. Now, the bearing is then written in 3-digits. For the 3-digit bearing that we are talking about, let's assume that we have 135 degrees. This is in 3-digit, okay? But if I have 90 degrees, you cannot just write it like this. It should be in the form of this. So 090 degrees. So this I write 90 degrees in bearing. If I have, let's say 0 degrees, then it should be written as what? 000 degrees. So if I have 6 degrees, it should be written as 006 degrees. So the 3-digit bearing is where we write the digit into 3. You don't write it in 2 or 1, it's just 3 digits. You should take note of all these things. So they are saying that thus angles less than 100 are preceded by 0. So if the number or the angle given is less than 100, just like what I've explained here, if the number is less than 100, you see that you precede them by what? Zeros, depending the number. So if the number is less than 3-digit, that's what you are trying to say. You should add what? Zeros to it to make it what? 3-digit. The zero should come here, not in front of it. Once you put the 0 in front of this, it becomes 60. That is more than 6. You have changed the thing, but 0 at the back of it still makes it what? 6 degrees. Is that okay? Now let's look at examples of that. All right, now let's look at first example here. Find the bearing of M, N, P, R, S, T, U, and W from the center O. So this is a diagram. Please, the diagram is not drawn to scale. Okay, so the measurements are not accurate. All right, so we are going to look at this one. The measurement here, the bearings here. So this is the center. We are talking about center O. So you want the bearing from the center O towards M to N, all of them. Okay, so first one, let's look for the M. Now, if you want to find the M, we have seen that for the bearing is measured. Now, before I even continue, someone might ask, I said that it's 3-decade bearing. Why is it that when I was writing here 50, I didn't write 050? When it's in the diagram like this, you can just write it just as it is now. Okay, but when you are writing your answer, it should be in 3-decade. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so here you want to find the bearing of M. The bearing of M is like it was here. This is the starting point and it has moved to this place. Okay, so it was here and it moved to that place because we said that you measure it clockwise or direction. So you stand at where the N is and you measure to where the M is. So those of you that know how to use a protractor, put the protractor there to measure it for you. Okay, as I said, it's not drawn to scale. So you stand at where the N is and you measure to where the M is. So if I do that, stand here and I'll measure. Okay, so if I do that, what am I going to get? My marker isn't flowing. Okay, so we stand here and measure to this place. Now we all know that this is a quadrant, one quadrant. Okay, from north to east is a one quadrant, which is 90 degrees. So we know that if here is 20 degrees, from here to here is 90 degrees. So if the whole of this place is 90 degrees and here is 20 degrees, what will be here? That will be what? 60 degrees. So if I want to find the bearing of M, the answer is not 20, but it's rather 60 because you are looking at from here to where the M is, not this place. Is that okay? Good. So here my answer becomes 060 degrees. Is that okay? Very good. Now you also look for N, bearing of N. So bearing of N. Now, before we explain that one, I should have said this thing to you. You know, when you draw the cardinal point, for instance, this is the north, the east, the south, and that of what? West. Okay, if you forgot this side, just say that we, W-E, we, so that you will not forget. Now, always here is always 00 degrees or 360 degrees, depending. That's the starting point and the ending point. Because when I start from here, because if I'm starting here from clockwise direction, I'll start and come and end here. So the starting point is 00 degrees. When it ends, it's 360 degrees. So it can be any of them. Now, from here to here, the east is always what? 90 degrees. Okay. And here is what? 270 degrees. Here is 360 degrees. Sorry. Here is 180 degrees. And here is what? 270 degrees. I beg your pardon. Okay, so this is 90 degrees. From north to east is 90 degrees. So this quadrant, that's the first quadrant, is 90 degrees. When you move to the second quadrant, it's also 90, but you are considering from north to south. So if I'm to consider from north to south, from here up to the south will be 90, which will give you what? 180. That's why this place is 180. Here is 270. Why is it 270? We are also considering from north to west. So if you are considering from north to west, you realize that here is 90 degrees also. So 90 plus 90 plus 90, that gives what? 270. And from this place up to that place, it will be what? This side is also 90. So 90, 90, 90, 90. That will give you what? 360. So the north too will also be 360. Or can be 00 degree because it's also a starting point. So you should take note of that. Alright. So with the understanding of this, you can get the n. Now the question is to find the n. This is the n. Okay. So if this is the n, we are looking at the fact that we started from here, then you move up to this place. So your answer there can be 00 degrees or it can be 360 degrees. Anyone you write is correct. So I'm going to write two of them, 00 degrees and also what? 360 degrees. Okay. Now let's also look at the P. What is our P? This is our P, okay? I think there's some conflict here. This N here is Q. So let me put the Q there. Q R. So this side is supposed to be Q, not N. So the N is what I've given you, okay? Now let's look at the P. So this is the P. The P is from this place up to this side, okay? If that is the case, we need to get here because from here up to this place, you know it is 90 degrees. Have you seen it? So if here is 90 degrees and here is 20 degrees, when I add these two to this, that will give me 110. Lay with this place for it to be complete. Now we know that this one 25 plus this 20 minus this side will give us what? This minus 90 will give us this side, okay? So what we are going to do is that we know that from the whole of this place is 90. The whole of this place, 1, 2, 3, is 90 degrees. So 1, 2, 3 is 90. We know that. So what we are going to do is that we are going to have 20. Let me do it down here. Let me represent here by x. So we have 20 plus x plus 25 equals to 90 degrees. Okay. So they have x plus 45 equals 90 degrees. Okay. Then x will be 90 minus 45. So x will be 45 degrees. Is that okay? So if x is 45 degrees, what is going to happen here is that this place too will be what? 45. So that if you add 1, 2, 3, we get what? 90. But we are interested from north to where the P is. So that will be 20 plus the 20 plus 45 plus the 90 here will give us what? The answer. So we are going to have 90 plus 20 plus 45. So this will give us 90 plus this alone. Okay, 90 plus this is 135, 155, right? So this P gives us 155. Let's try it and see. 90 plus 20 plus 45. Yes. So this gives us 155 degrees. Now let's also look for Q. So Q, this is our Q, okay? But the Q will not suffer because you know that we are interested in this line. And you know that from this place to this place is 90 degrees. So we need here, and we know this side is 20. So we just add the 90 to the 20 so that we have our Q to be 110 degrees. Is that okay? Then from Q we move to R. This is our R. So for the R, know that from north to south is 180 degrees. This side is 180. And we are interested in this line, the line here. So we are moving from this place up to this place. So if from here to north to south is 180, we just add 65 to the 180 and we get this place. Because if I start from here and I move, we just add, this is 67, so 67 to 180 and we get our answer. Okay, so we are going to have, that is R. We have 180 degrees plus 67. So what will be our R? So let's add it. 180 plus 67. Get 247 degrees. 247 degrees. Okay. So this is for the R. Also, let's also look at the T. No, let me leave it for you. So I hope you can try for the T. You can also try for the U. Okay. And lastly, the W. The W, you can all guess to be 270 degrees. Is that okay? Now let's move to the next example. Okay, guys, let's look at this example. You are going to look at how to also represent. See, the first one I gave it to you was already on a diagram. You are going to check how to also send them from figures towards diagram. First it was in the diagram, then you bring them towards figures. Now you are going to do the other way around. So let's start with this one. So the first one, let me draw my diagram. So here will be north, here will be east, here will be south, and here will be what? West. Okay. Now looking at this one, you want to draw the bearing of what? V equals 145 degrees. You want to represent this one here. So if you want to represent 145 here, it's not difficult at all. Already I've explained to you that bearings measured from where? North. Clockwise direction, not anti-clockwise. So it means that we stand here and move. Now this is 145. What it means is that from the first quadrant, second, third, fourth. The first quadrant is 90. The second quadrant is what? Also 90. But from first to the second quadrant, if you combine the two, is 180. It means that 145 can be found in what? The second quadrant. Is that all right? Okay. So let's see. So we draw this, then we name it what? V. Or let me name it here. V. Okay. Now, how do we get to know the angle here? You know that from this place up to this place is there. From here to where this bar is what is the 145 degrees. Okay. But if I want to know the angle here, the small angle here, what I do is that I will subtract the 90. You know, from this place to the east is 90 degrees. So I'll subtract the 90 from the 145. So if you subtract 90 from 145, what do you have? You get what? 55. Means that this place, this small area here is 55 degrees. Is that okay? So that is the I. Now let's move to the II. So I have my north, my east, my south, then my west. So you are going to indicate 75 here. For the 75, this will be at which quadrant? First quadrant, right? For 75, you are the first quadrant. So you stand here, then you draw your straight line. Now when you draw the straight line, because you are measuring from where? North. You stand here, so it's coming to this direction. Is that this side will be 75 degrees. Is that okay? Very good. Now let's move on to the last one. So my east is here, north is here, south is here, west is here. Okay. Now 240 will be at which quadrant? I know you can guess. It will be at the third quadrant because this 90, 180, 270. So the from north to west is 270. So 240 can be found in 270, so it will be here. So you just draw the line there. This one was what? K. You draw the line there and you name it as what? B. Okay, very good. If you name this one as B, now you want 240. That means it's starting from here up to this place. That's 240 degrees. Okay, but we all know that from this place to south, from north to south, is 180. Okay, so if I need the small one here, I simply subtract 180 from 240 and I will get the small angle there. So let me check that. 240 minus 180, that will be 60 degrees. So here will be 60 degrees. Is that okay? Yes. So you can try this one. Let me name it IV. You can try, let's say C equals 310 degrees and V E equals 105 degrees. So you can try this, okay, to see if you understand what you are doing. Very good. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe and also try to watch everything, understand it perfectly. Thank you.